So much research has been done on finding out what makes you happy and what helps you live the very longest. And there's one thing that absolutely tops the chart every time, way above all the other factors. It's not your diet or what you eat. It's not the exercise that you do or don't get. It's not even the genes that you were born with. So this one thing is the topic of this entire video today. I'm gonna give you what that one thing is, and I'm gonna share why it's so easy for us as humans to block that happiness that we really need in life and how to reach it. And we can do it in 2 simple steps that you can start with today. So stick with me while we unpack this. For those of you who are new here, I'm Ketra Thompson, and I'm a certified master hypnotist. And I help people create lasting change on a subconscious level. I believe that it's every human's right to be deeply connected to their self-worth so that they can authentically connect with themselves and others. So before I jump into this topic, I just want to remind you that there is a link in the description below so that you can find out how to work with me, answer any questions you might have. There's also a free relaxation recording, hypnosis recording in the link below. And also I want to remind you, if this content is something that's helpful for you, if you found value in it, please click like and subscribe so you can be notified every time I post a new video. So happiness is actually fairly subjective. So it's important that we first look at what is being measured and what is being defined as happiness. So first of all, the first thing that they measure as a form of happiness is this temporary happiness, like the excitement or thrill of something that is new or unique. It's sort of this high mountaintop moment. This kind of happiness is short-lived. I mean, we can't live in those high mountaintop moments all the time and actually have any balance in our life. But I do want to note that this kind of happiness is important. It's important to have fun and excitement in our lives and to cultivate that, because it's easy to forget about that in our adult lives. Now, the second type of happiness that is measured in these studies is a deep feeling of happiness. It's the feeling that comes from having a really good life, believing that you have a meaningful, good life. Now, this comes from a deep place of peace and contentment that's much more consistent. It just runs underneath the rest of life, keeping you really grounded and centered in a sense of peace. And these 2 kinds of happiness have really been the focus of a ton of research. There's a ton of research by a lot of researchers. But today I'm really focusing on the research of one person, and that's Dr. Robert Waldinger. I might be saying that wrong. He's investigated this topic for decades and followed people over the course of several decades. He's really discovered that there's one factor that contributes the most to someone's overall happiness, and that deep kind of happiness, that deep, peaceful, contented happiness, and it happens to affect your lifespan and longevity as well. And the number 1 factor is the quality of our connections with the people we have relationship with in our lives. So the fact is, how deeply you are connected to your life partner, to your kids, to your family, to your friends, it really matters. So the reality is that the more time we spend with someone, the more depth is needed to keep that relationship healthy and to keep the bond really healthy, because the factors play in when you have a healthy attachment to these other people in your life. The healthier your attachments are to the closest people in your life, the better you feel and the more contented you feel deep inside of you, which has so many ripple effects. And this really plays into lifespan as well. So the longer lives that people have are characterized by how good their closest relationships are. It's interesting how happiness and living long are really going hand in hand in so many of these studies. So health and happiness is highest when those relationships in someone's life are characterized by quality and warmth. That is all about depth. So according to Dr. Wattinger, relationships act as stress regulators in our everyday lives. And it's interesting how the research in the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller also address this same issue. If you have the security of another person that's stable and trustworthy to do life with, it is an entire game changer. It actually helps regulate your heart rate, your blood pressure, your nervous system, your sleep patterns. It is a biological regulator in your life, as well as an emotional regulator. And all of this research goes directly against the ultra-independent movement that says, I can do everything on my own, I don't need help, you shouldn't need help from someone else, you shouldn't need anyone for anything. It's in direct opposition to that. So this connection factor goes so far above all the other risk factors, it's crazy. Like, it's way higher than your diet, your exercise, whether or not you smoke, whether or not you drink alcohol. All of these are a much less risk factor for your long-term health than the close relationships. Like, it is at the top of the list, way above the others. So you can see the quality of the attachments that you have in your life matter way more than anything else. So why is it such a struggle? Whether you're in a relationship with someone already or you're not and you want to be, there are so many dynamics that create such a struggle in creating this secure, healthy attachment. In my own personal work, I've found that there's really three things that are at the heart of what creates this struggle. The first one is triggers and subconscious programming from your childhood. What happens is when you have these unaddressed triggers, they can actually trigger this subconscious belief that when something happens or someone says something to you, that all of a sudden in a split second, your mind goes way back to the belief system it assigned to that same feeling in childhood and makes a snap judgment or assumption that it must mean the same thing in this situation. So it takes away your ability to be objective and step away from the situation and really have clarity, because those feelings and emotions are tied to something really old from the past. The second thing is your past adult life experiences. Those experiences can absolutely get in the way. So your mind believes that your past experiences are the totality of reality. So it doesn't always allow you to see the possibility that things can be a different way, they can mean a different thing, and that there can be multiple paths to getting to the place you want to go. Instead, it keeps you in this very narrow view where it limits the viable options for possibilities moving forward. So those adult experiences also matter. And the third big factor is fear of rejection. This comes from our abandonment wounds and our attachment trauma from the past. Now, you don't have to have had awful parents or horribly neglectful upbringing to have these wounds. We all have times when we needed something from a caregiver and we didn't get it. And that damages that attachment that we have with our caregiver. And we end up having abandonment wounds, especially if we do have someone who was significant in our life that left our life really early on. And that can be reinforced with failed relationships from the past. So these three things are really holding people back. Triggers, their past adult life experience, and that fear of rejection. And luckily, these things are all things that you can actually reframe on a subconscious level with a customized hypnotherapy process. That process allows you to connect with your self-worth, and it allows you to dare to step into a new reality, a reality where it's easy for you to connect with others without so much fear and resistance. I do that for my clients every day through customized hypnotherapy processes that also allow them to connect to their most authentic selves, to feel really connected to that self-worth and confidence. And there's 2 things you can do on your own today, right now, to start the process. The first thing you can do is you can start challenging your own thoughts. You can really question if this is the only reality that there is, or if there could possibly be another way. Just slowing things down and questioning doesn't mean your thoughts are right or wrong, or your opinions are right or wrong. You're just willing to question and say, what if? The second thing you can do is you can start paying attention to your reactions to other people's opinions of you and their behavior toward you. So this is a really good indication of old wounds and old beliefs that need to be addressed and reframed, and awareness of those is the first step. So these steps help you create a life where you can actually have deep, meaningful, authentic connections in your life. And you can do it without that fear of rejection. You can do it without taking on the opinions of others as a definition of your own self-worth. So start questioning yourself today. And if you're ready, I mean really ready, to take a big leap in this growth process, then check out that link in the description, because that complimentary consultation call, even if you don't decide to work with me, it will be valuable to you. It will help you get the clarity that you need to understand what steps to take next in your life. I've created customized programs for men, for women, and for couples that include customized hypnotherapy one-on-one with me, as well as ongoing support for integration as you implement a new way of living, as you rewire those neural pathways, and as you create a life that you actually love. And just one last reminder, there is that link for that free relaxation hypnosis recording in the description below. You won't want to miss that. It's my free gift to you. And until next time, I hope you curate a life by your own design.